Is that good? Now, video games were always such an integral part of my life. You know, they bring you, everyone plays them if you're a guy. And that's no offense to women, but that's just a commonly known thing. Pretty much every young boy, person in middle school, elementary school, high school, everyone plays games and it brings you together. That's why it can be so alluring. Because, all my friends are doing it. I really believe that video games, especially technology, but video games in particular, is such a silent killer, man. For certain games, you can check how many hours you've put into a particular game. You can literally just see it. It tells you. And I have put so much time into video games. Like, there's even this one website for League of Legends, right? One of the games where you type. There's literally a website someone made where you type in your username. The website's called time I wasted on lol.com or some shit like that. Type in username and then it says you have played this many hours as a rank. And then there's this many hours you could have read 835 books. That would have been 1,500 miles ran. It says these stats, 700 movies watched and all that type of shit. And that just really, it's a great website because it makes you think oh shit, what if instead of putting 3,000 hours into a video game, especially if you're not making content, if you are making content with video games, then makes a lot more sense. But if you're just playing the game and no content, then oh my God, that's not great, especially if you're putting thousands of hours like I have throughout the course of my life. But the question that I ask myself is what if I didn't put 3,000 hours, however amount of hours, what if I literally did zero and put all of that into, the website said, reading? Or what if I put it into, I don't know, what if I was just randomly knew about coding when I was a young boy? What if I knew about coding then? And just got into that, even for a couple hundred hours instead of thousands and thousands of video games. What the fuck? There's so many things. I could have been so far ahead. And I'm glad that I'm figuring this out now. But still, there's just so many better things out there. I know it's fun, but you've got to understand that all of these video games are intentionally created for you to be addicted to them. I feel like no one really knows that, but every little detail that's in it, the colors, for one, the leveling up system. You want to be fucking leveling up in real life instead. But the fact that you can't see the progress, the numbers going up in real life, it makes it a little bit more demotivating. I understand that. Whereas in video games, you can see, it tells you, in certain games, you go from, gold to diamond to grandmaster, wow. But in real life, if you actually do go in a metaphorical gold to grandmaster, that can happen, but you don't see it a lot of the time. Maybe that could be in the form of a bank account, but honestly, this is where maybe journaling can come in, keeping your progress down in some way. There's more than just journaling, but you can keep your track yourself in whatever you're doing. If you're, I don't know, if you're trying to learn something, maybe you can write down every single day a small tiny note, and then how long you learn that. Because I used to teach myself code a little bit. I would jot down a little thing, I learned some of this today, I did a little bit of this, and I'd put 2 hours into it or something like that. Then that shows you hey, I'm actually moving towards something. You can see that you're moving towards it rather than just it kind of just going away. Because you could be getting way better at something, you could be getting insane progress towards a goal or towards life in general, and you can not even know it at all, and then like stop and then go backwards because you didn't know you're making progress. But a video game will literally tell you and show you objectively that you are moving in a certain direction or stagnant. Like, there's just so many ways. But yeah, the journaling is just a great way to be able to track your progress in that sense. Just so you can have some sort of leveling up. Like that's what we need. And yeah, video games are intentionally created. I don't want to say destroy you because I feel like people would take that too seriously, but I really do believe they kind of are meant to destroy you in a way. They're meant to take your time. Like, why do you think some video games are so cheap or even free? Why do you think that is? Because you are paying them with your time. It's the same thing as social media. You are paying them with your attention and time, which is your most valuable asset of all time. It just is. It's unarguable. There's nothing more important than that in your entire life. And because you're paying them with the most important currency, time, it's really not free. A game like, I don't know if Fortnite's free or not. I think it is. And then I know League of Legends is free. Those are like the most popular games, pretty much. Some of the most popular. And they're free. I think Fortnite's free. And, yeah, that's just a way to get you in, but really it's not. Trust me, they make billions and billions of dollars on the back end. That's what people don't understand, is that all profits don't come from the front end in businesses. So if something's free, you need to, especially if something's free in a huge company, you need to really, really think to yourself, like, okay, what am I getting myself into? Because nothing is free. So what the fuck am I paying with? Your attention, advertisements. It's small pennies and pennies because they have so many users that it's okay if that user only spends a few pennies in the form of ads because they have such a large amount of following behind them, and also the back end for people who are really addicted to it. So that's how I know for a fact that League of Legends makes all their money is through the back end. And to get people to spend a bunch of money in the back end, you have to get them addicted to it, and you have to get them really, really, really into it, because otherwise no one is going to buy a fucking skin. Same thing with Fortnite. You're not going to unless you're really, really, really into it. That's the only way. So they design it so that you can be really into it. Like, I think League of Legends is a very toxic in the sense of time wasting because, oh my God, because you do the same thing over and over in every game. And that goes with a lot of games. There's a certain like ritual that you go through. And the more you do the same thing over and over, you get more accustomed to it, and the time goes by faster. Like when you're doing new things, time generally goes by a little bit slower because it's a new experience. That's sort of why when you're younger, time goes by a lot slower than when you're older. Relative to yourself, it doesn't actually go by slower. But that's a really bad part about video games, and that's why when you're playing Call of Duty, all these games, the time just snaps by. It goes by in like exponentially quicker. I have never passed time quicker than playing video games from like anything else, really. And that is because you are doing, it's sucking your time away with a lot of the repeated actions that you're doing and the repeated rituals. Like, for example, like loading in the game. That alone can take away hours and hours of your life when you're sitting there waiting for it. And then the loading screen, and then the startup. Like, almost every game has all of those things where, like, loading, waiting, startup, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's like 25% of the game right there, dude. And then the ending screen, the waiting for it to exit. Dude, all of that shit adds up, man. Like, that, oh my God, I can't even begin to stress the amount that adds up. And League of Legends has more of that shit, more of the ritualistic type of time wasters than anything else, man. Oh my God, you're buying the same items every game. You're killing these little minion things over and over and over. And you get just so accustomed to that it just flies by. But yeah, that's just my current thoughts on video games right now. I don't think it's bad in moderation, but it's, with many things, especially with video games, it's hard to keep it in moderation. So just, if you're gonna play video games, I strongly urge that you try to control yourself a tiny bit, and just be cognizant of the fact that they are trying to addict you. All right, peace out, guys.